We're here in far north Queensland. Could you identify yourself?
I'm Jim Bradshaw. I live in Cairns and have lived in Cairns for 40 odd years. During that time I've seen the area develop, mainly for the good, but I am asked specifically about the proposed Aquis casino resort development, which I strongly oppose. I believe it's incompatible with the local environment, being a pristine tourist area of rainforest, coral atolls and sparkling seas. I have lived in other areas where tourism is the main source of income, for example Fiji and Kiribati. And Fiji is a good example where they responsibly allocate certain areas for tourism and the rest of the natural environment to remain for the benefit and enjoyment of the local people. The nature of our environment here is totally inconsistent with a gambling venue, and possibly the most vivid illustration is the USA, where the most successful gambling area is in the middle of a desert, namely Las Vegas. The matter that causes me concern immediately and rings alarm bells is that the Chinese have been so readily able to convince the local Aboriginal population, the custodians of the area, that it is suitable for such an alien development. It, with respect to the parties involved, seems to make a mockery of the High Court's intentions when it granted substantial land rights to or recognised substantial land rights of the Aboriginals. It seems to me that all the factors upon which the applicants successfully argued that proposition are mocked and foreign to the gambling facilities on area that can be regarded as somewhat unique and sacred to them. It therefore makes me speculate as to why or how the approval was so readily obtained. I have worked with Aboriginal organisations for the 40 years I've been in Cairns, and I find this attitude somewhat perplexing and inconsistent. I recall, for example, some years ago there was a very comprehensive environmental friendly resort proposed next to Lockhart River settlement, and it was violently opposed by the local community, and that opposition was recognised by the government authorities, and it didn't go ahead. The simple factors that were relevant, of course, were the increased availability of alcohol and the presence of money also incurred, they believed, a risk of prostitution and other activities that were detrimental to the community's welfare. I lived on Palm Island for over a year and have visited most communities in Queensland for extended periods of time, having worked with the Aboriginal Legal Service for some 5 years. I am confident in stating that gambling is a real problem within those communities and has resulted in children going without when monies are frittered away. In fact, in my stay on Palm Island, the government's then policy was a rations system whereby wages were paid in part and the rest was made up of rations which were brought across from Townsville. Obviously I don't recommend that, and we return to that era. However, I believe that gambling is a significant problem and causes huge problems within the Aboriginal community, and it is ironic therefore that their land can be utilised for gambling purposes. I have been told of the Darwin casino experience where there are significant amounts of money from Aboriginals squandered there, and my understanding is that the beneficiaries of Uluru, for example, find the casino quite attractive. They in themselves are reasons why I'm concerned that the land is regarded as acceptable for such use by the local population.